I hear there are different things, different signs, open borders, defund the police, men playing in women's sports, all different levels of problem. But they don't make sense. Who would want this? Who would want open borders where people come in from prisons, jails, and mental institutions and terrorists, openly just walk into the country from places unknown? Who would want that? Who would want that? Who would want men playing in women's sports?
I 100% feel what Donald Trump is saying here. Who would want open borders? Who wants men and women's sports? I get it. I feel where he's coming from. I don't want that. I know most of you all don't want that. And when you think about it, it's hard to fathom that anyone would want that. But the reality is, and this is a reality that is hard to accept. It's hard for me to accept. I haven't even all the way 100% accepted this reality yet. But the reality is, and we all know it deep down, is that there are a lot of people that want this. We are up against a lot of deranged lunatics that want wide open borders. They want chaos. They want America to crumble. They want men competing against women. And let's just take it all the way there. They want to do things to your kids. They're coming for your kids. We know this. So I think it's time to accept what we're up against. And I'm not saying that maybe half the country is this way, but there's a large portion of people who are this way. And we can no longer deny that, because we are seeing it happen all around us. We see examples of this. There are people marching in the streets for this. So it's time to accept what we're up against, because that's the only way we win moving forward. So many people still look at things that are happening and they think these are overreactions. They think, oh, this is just a rare occurrence. This isn't really a problem. They don't understand that the problem is way bigger than what you think. And the number of people who go along with this crazy weirdness, oh man, there's a lot of them. So it's time to accept that. It's time to realize that these people want all of these horrible things because they hate people like me, and they hate people like you, and they definitely hate Donald Trump. And once we fully understand and grasp that, then I feel like we can move forward. But for now, I kind of feel like we're in this stagnant place where some people are still having a hard time accepting who and what we're up against.
You know, here's a man that's in charge of nuclear warfare and stuff, and I don't think he should have been there. But that was a debate, and it was their idea. They wanted to do it. I said, you know, it's early, but I'll do it if you want. What do you want to do? And they gave me CNN, they gave me Jake Tapper, and they gave me Dana Bash, who traditionally you would never do it. You'd never do it with them because they're, you know, they're Trump haters at the highest level, and CNN is a Trump hater. Basically, they're liberals. I don't like to use the word progressive. It's too pretty a word. It's such a pretty word. They're progressive. Progressive means you think into the future. They're actually thinking to 3,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. These people, they're not progressive, but they're liberal. And I took it because that was the only way you're going to get a debate. I was surprised they did debate it. I don't think they actually wanted me to take it. I thought they were going to say, you know, he wouldn't take it, and therefore Biden doesn't have to debate. But I agreed to all these things that I normally wouldn't agree to. Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible. The way she treats people is horrible. But the way she treated Justice Kavanaugh during that hearing, in the history of Congress, nobody's been treated that way.
Donald Trump made a great point there, and I do think that we should stop calling these people progressives. Because what are they really progressing? I mean, what they've introduced and they've labeled it as progress, it's really taking us backwards. Like, we had a firm understanding that there were only two genders. We had a firm understanding that only women get pregnant and only women have periods. Now that understanding has been thrown out of the window due to progress or fake progress. You see, I do believe at one point there were real progressives in this country that were pushing for progress, that were pushing for things that we maybe needed to do and changes that we needed to make in our society. But at some point, I think we kind of got to where we needed to be for the most part. And then at that point, these progressives, a lot of them, they kind of lost their mind. They lost their power because, hey, where do we progress from here? Women are voting. Everyone's viewed as equals in our country. Where do we progress from here? So what they had to do is they created all of these fake forms of progress that really were just taking us backwards. Their version of progress is just introducing a lot of wild ideologies to our society that really make no sense at all. And now you got people fighting out here for progress that really isn't progress. You got people, going against scientific facts that we knew were facts for years that have now just thrown all of that out of the window for no apparent reason because they think they're being progressive when in reality they're taking us backwards. And once they get done with taking us backwards, then they'll flip the script and then they'll fight for progress to take us back to where we were, and then we'll repeat the whole situation over again like a revolving door. Okay? So yeah, calling these people progressives, I think it's time that we stop doing that. Because where have they brought us forward? Where? Our economy is going backwards. Everything is going down the drain. And I don't view that as progress. And I don't think anyone else should either. So why should we still be labeling them progressives? It sends a false message out there. It really does. I mean, for example, at one point, there really weren't much women's sports. There weren't really many women's sports leagues, and progressives fought for women to have their own sports leagues, for women to have things like the WNBA. That was progress. People fought tooth and nail to get to this point. And now that we've gotten to that point, some of the same people are now fighting for men to be able to compete against women in these sports. How insane is that? Imagine, for decades fighting for women to have their own place where they can compete in sports, right? Just to, after all of that fighting, after all of that progress was made, now you rewind the clock. Now you take things backwards by saying, hey, well, men should be able to compete in these men leagues too, as long as they pretend to be women. So yeah, it's all fake progress, and it's time that people wake up to that. Understand that you are not some type of virtuous good person because you believe that dudes should be in a locker room with little girls. No, that makes you a freaking creep, okay? It just simply does. But like I said earlier, it's time for us to understand and recognize what we're up against. We're up against a bunch of mentally deranged creeps. And there's no other way to put it. Look at the things they want. Look at the things they're fighting for. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.